What's really good, man? It's your boy, FFL Commissioner, Hatter Ali, with the one and only, all right, the best rookie in FFL history as of right now, coming with a 12-2 record, making it to the chip, Mr. Abusement Park, man. What's going on with you, bro?
Yo, yo, what's going on, my man?
Hey, man, it was only right to bring you on here by yourself. I feel like, you definitely built a role in the league as being one of the top dogs already in his upcoming second year. And, before we begin talking about our league, let's talk about some other things that's kind of near dear to our heart as well. Us unfortunately being a Commander fan, but now we can say maybe fortunately now with the new era coming and Dan Snyder going out the door, and EB coming in as a coordinator on offense, man. What type of expectations you got this year, man? What do you think we're gonna do this year, bro?
Yeah, dude, I'm extremely excited. I've been a Redskins fan. Okay,
Right,
Commanders, Redskins fan for since as long as I can remember.
right.
I mean, we for us, like in my family, it's like religion almost. When
Yeah, yeah.
football starts, Sundays are blocked off. Everybody knows that. You don't bother us on Sundays.
That's it.
So being a Washington fan, it almost feels like for the past. I'm 22 years old, right? So I'm still pretty young.
Right,
Uh, I never got to experience the glory days.
right,
So for me growing up, it's almost like watching this team. You've been in this like dark tunnel forever, and
right.
then all the scandals with the ownership and coaching changes and all that stuff that happened. We've had, I think, something along the lines of like 26 quarterbacks or something since Snyder took ownership. Um, all that combined together, it almost felt like every single year you would never catch a break watching them. And finally,
Exactly.
I think it's like we're seeing some light in the tunnel. Do
Right.
I think we're going to be a competitor this year, for winning the East or a championship or anything along those lines? I don't know. We've got some young guys. They're having 10, 15,000 fans. We've never seen that before. So it's going to be something, it's going to be something to witness this year for sure. I don't know that we're quite there and quite primed to really take over the league yet, but I think we got a nice young group to build around right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all the things you said there. I mean, right now, obviously they're gonna come in and obviously it'll be kind of new, kind of learning experience for some of the offensive players. EB because EB don't play around, right? We never had an offensive coordinator like EB for a long time, the one who doesn't play around or doesn't cut any slack. So I definitely, and he's already chewing people's behind, in the training camp right now, trying to have them a okay, before the season starts. So, I definitely think, EB coming in is going to make a great change, and obviously, Dan going out, obviously that's a big change too. Now, as far as our defense is in concern, all the pieces of puzzles are there. And obviously, some people are saying that obviously they're not performing at the level they should be. Now, Chase Young, this year's quite big for him this year. I mean, he needs to kind of, get the ball rolling and do what he was supposed to kind of imagined to do when drafting him, which he did. Obviously his first year was amazing. He made the Pro Bowl and all that, but then obviously he kept getting hurt the years after and all that. Now, what do you think Chase is gonna go to that next level this year and kind of just show up, expecting to do what we thought he was?
I mean, I think this year is a big year for him where he kind of has to perform. I think
Right.
him and I believe Montez is on his contract year as well.
Yeah.
So I mean that's going to be a big battle between those guys. So I mean I think he's definitely got something to prove this year, and it seems like he's got that fire under him, and that he's ready to come out and really ball out. So I mean
Right.
I'm a fan. I've been a fan of him since college. So I hope that we can get, one of those players who can come out and give us, 15, 16 sacks in a season. Um,
Right.
and he's got that. I think he's got that potential in him. Just a matter of getting it out. And I mean, I think that group that we have right now, overall defensively, I genuinely don't see defense as our issue. I think the offense is where we may have some problems potentially, just with it being a younger group and having chemistry build up and the offensive line issues. That's something I think we definitely got to address there. But I mean, defensively, realistically speaking, we got, probably on any given night, a top five line with the
Right.
combination of our four guys. Those two Alabama boys are something else. So,
Right.
I mean, our D line is solid. With the pickup of Forbes right now, I mean, the secondary is they're pretty stout at this point as well. Cam Curl's been balling out. St. Juice looks like he's kind of picking up the pace at this point as well. He's been really getting it together as well.
Right. Right.
Derek Forrest looked good last year. So we got some guys. Linebacker, a little bit questionable. We probably could have made some moves there. I think that's probably
Right.
where our weak point would be
Right.
defensively.
Right.
But I'm honestly more concerned with the offense rather than the defense. I think our
Right.
defense will probably hold up for the most part. I mean, we've consistently over the past few years been a top 5, top 10 defense statistically.
You're
So
right. No, I do agree, and obviously, signing Burton, Cody, from the Seahawks as a linebacker. I mean, I don't know what that was all about. Hopefully he comes in and kind of does what he's supposed to do. But we do need an offensive line, and that's the thing that every year they get they never try to get the right offensive lineman. Obviously, uh, Chase Roulier, he retired early, and I feel like the line just needs help. And like you were saying, the linebackers always need help. I mean, ever since Lyndon Fletcher left, it's kind of been like whatever, right?
yeah,
And we just need to see what we can do next year with those positions, and then maybe we can go from there. But let's not forget about my boy Jamin Davis. I mean, he's a dog. He is a dog. And he's been performing, but he still needs that outside linebacker help.
yeah.
So I definitely agree on that. Now let's talk about fantasy. All right, another thing that's near dear to our heart. Right, you play fantasy in a different type of mindset that I kind of figured out from last year. You don't play around, man. You don't play games. Last year, I remember you had the combo of Saquon and CMC. Wow, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Now, I know that you're not going to give much of the information out, but when it comes to fantasy, man, how do you draft, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, fantasy for me, I've always looked at it as um, it's like a 60-40 split, right?
Right,
60% of it's skill, 40% of it is luck. And for you to have a successful fantasy season, you got to have some luck on your side.
right,
Now, do you need to know your players and your matchups and your teams, and schedules and things along those lines to have a good year, free agency pickups and all that? Of course. I mean, you just got to know, you got to be, up to par with what's going on. But I
right,
mean, a big piece of it is also having some luck on your side, right? You go and take
right,
your number one pick, and you end up with the McCaffrey or a JT or one of the big name guys, and then they get hurt 3 weeks into the season. I mean, that has nothing to do with your skill or not knowing fantasy. That just kind of
right,
odds are working against you at that point. Does that mean your
right,
season's over? No, not necessarily. Comes back to kind of how you manage the team, and where you pay attention because I mean, free agency is a big deal, right?
right,
I had some dogs from free agencies, trades, things along those lines. So, if you know how to keep your eyes out and really manage your lineup,
right,
I think you can put something together. Uh, in terms of drafting for me, I mean, I'm not really gonna tell people too much of my strategy.
Right.
All I'll say is, the one pointer I can give anybody is draft on upside,
Hmm.
right? Like, when in doubt,
Right.
draft on upside.
Okay.
You're really tossed up between 2 guys, just really sit and think about, okay, who's got the higher ceiling, and just play it
Right.
out that way, right?
Right.
But the biggest piece I will say more than anything, and where I've made the most mistakes in fantasy football ever, is
Right.
not trusting my gut. I think
Okay.
if your pick's coming up and you got your guy in mind and it pops up, don't even hesitate. Just make your pick. There's no point of waiting, right? You got a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the timer. Pick it in the first 2 seconds. It don't matter, right? If you
Hmm.
trust your gut and you know your players, I mean, once draft day comes up, you should know your strategy and you should know the different scenarios that are going to be popping up. So for me, it's like when that point comes up, if your guy's there that you want, just take it and trust your gut, because the moment you start questioning yourself, that's when things go downhill, I've noticed.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, nicely said, man. And obviously last year you were 12-2, and there was one player, and I gotta mention as well, Mr. Hamza, right? Uh, he was 13-1. He was a guy that was kind of neck to neck to you, and I remember you guys faced later on the season. And obviously there was a little conflict, a little scruffle going on in the chat. What do you want to say about that?
Man, that's a phony right there. I'm messing with you. No,
Yeah,
I mean, he had a nice team last year. I didn't appreciate his trash talk when I had, I think, 6 or 7 starters on a bye week.
right.
But all I can say is, who made it to the championship? He couldn't even get there. So all that for
Hmm.
nothing in the end. I think, it goes to prove, look at, points per game, things along those lines.
Right,
Um, my team was held up pretty well, but he had a good draft. He had some good depth on
right,
his team as well,
right.
which, that's what led him to the record that he had. But if I was full power, all I can say is he wouldn't have been 13-1.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's the only thing I can put out there,
Well,
right?
13-2. He'll be 13-2, and you will be 13-1. Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be 12 and
yeah.
2. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that is definitely true. Um, Now I need to ask. I gotta let you know. I'm all about stats. You're the first rookie in the FFL to come in as of 3 years. Or we go on to the fourth to go to the Super Bowl his rookie year. So that's your nameplate's on that at the moment, right? Which is great. Um, this year, man, what do you think your goals are in fantasy beside winning the chip?
Shoot, we ain't got nothing else, man. Take everybody out, win the championship. That's it. It's simple for me. Cut and
Okay,
dry. I mean, you play to win. If you're not winning the championship, it's a failure of a season, in my opinion.
all
So
right,
second, third
right,
place, it don't matter. If you're not holding that trophy up in the end, you don't really have much to stand on, in my opinion.
right, right. So you're waiting more on this trophy. You care more about the trophy than the moolah, huh?
Oh
You
yeah,
you that type of player. Okay.
bro,
Hey,
bragging
that
rights.
hey, definitely, man. Yeah, bragging rights is a great feeling. Obviously me being, it's funny. Commissioner of FFL, first year coming in, and I win the first year. I think that was just only right, right? And obviously I wouldn't say I'm really your rival. I feel like, we're just, in there together, you know, whatever, what have you. Um, as of right now, as of 1 year you playing in the FFL, obviously you would say yourself, if you're in the chip, man, who do you think is going to be versing you in the chip this year? What type of players in the FFL you got your eyes on?
Man, I'll be honest with you right now.
Okay, okay,
Outside of you, I don't know that I can name two more people in the league.
all right, all right,
So honestly, I really don't care. I play
hmm,
anybody. It don't matter to me. Don't matter who
okay,
shows up. I think my biggest enemy will be myself in fantasy, right? making
That should be an
potentially.
Instagram. That should be an Instagram quote right there, man.
I
Um,
think ultimately, making the right making the right starts, the right free agency pickups and drops and trades and all that. That's the
right,
biggest dictator of your season. It doesn't really matter who you play. You just got to understand your matchups more than anything.
right,
It's understanding that you know if Josh Allen is your starting quarterback and he's playing, I don't know, the Eagles, for example, and you've got a guy like Dak Prescott on your bench who may not be as good
right.
as Josh Allen, but he's playing a team like the Cardinals.
Hmm.
I mean, in some scenarios, not always, right? But in some scenarios, it might make sense to start that other name, right? I think a
Right,
lot of people, though, just go with the bigger name or the better player overall, not fully understanding matchups and how that can make a difference. Um,
right.
so I think, understanding your matchups, your free agency pickups and drops, that's the biggest piece, and just not letting anybody wake up at 3, 4 in the morning before me and make waiver wire pickups. That's going to be the big piece, right? I got to be the first one on it. So I'm up
Right.
early, I'm up late. I'm letting everybody know that I'm gonna be watching all the time. So
Ooh, there we go, man. There you go. Now, I gotta let you know, man. You know, obviously, we all know. Some of them all knew what happened on draft pick order, and obviously, there's a new rule in play where everyone comes to the draft with their laptop drafting. I know that you brought an agent with you last year. And obviously people, start going off and whatnot on the draft order pick thing. Obviously you understand that both views, but now you understand the rules and all that, whatever. Last year, past and gone. What are some of the message you want to tell the FFL players as of right now that Abusement Park, this is what he's gonna do this year, year
yeah,
4?
I think that everybody should just worry about themselves, their research, and focus on that.
Hmm,
Ultimately, look, this is the way I look at it. First of all, it wasn't cheating in any way because you knew in advance that I was bringing somebody, and nobody at any point told me I couldn't. So that's the first thing I got to clear up for anybody who thinks that I did something against anybody's will. It
right.
was my first year in the league, so I didn't feel like any rules were broken. Here's my
Okay.
bone to pick with it, though. I showed up to the draft. Nobody said a word to me. A month
Hmm,
goes by or 2 weeks or whatever it was, and the season started. Nobody said anything. Halfway through the year, nobody said anything. We get to the playoffs. Nobody said anything. We get to the
right.
championship. Nobody said anything. After the
Right.
season, all of a sudden, when they see the 12-2 record and championship appearance, it's a problem.
Right.
Now, you're telling me if we would have flipped the script and I went 2-12, anybody would have had an issue with it? Not one person would have said anything. That was my
Mm,
problem with it. Is if it was a problem, everybody should have just said something right away and said, "Hey, what's going on?" But for
right.
me, my take on it, man, I don't care if you come with a whole draft room, a war room with you when you show up to the draft. I know what I'm doing and I know my draft strategy. So at the end of the day, it don't change anything for me. So the way I look at it is if you've done your research and you know what you got coming into the league,
Right.
knowing you're in a league that's pretty competitive and people are doing their homework and whatnot, shouldn't matter if somebody's got 10 guys on their side or one guy on their side. You just got to be ready and know how to pick your players. That's how I look at it. So,
Okay. There you go. Hey, man. Abusement Park, Abraham, nice having you on. I want to let you know that draft, obviously, you already know, is within a week now. I'll see you then. And good luck to you and your fantasy season this year in FFL, man.
yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to my bone in con kebab as well.
Oh,
And,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that
Oh,
real
yeah. Your birthday, on Monday, right? Coming Monday.
22nd, whatever day of the week that is.
Okay,
So,
so yeah, Monday. There it is. Okay, man.
yeah.
I might need to do a little pre-birthday gift, man. Might just have to send you a little gift card
Hey, there we
through the
go.
mail or something, man. For
There,
sure, man. I
there we go.
appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. See you soon, bro. And
Yes, sir.
guys on YouTube, more podcasts to come with NFL players and coaches. We keep it raw and uncut, man. Subscribe. Take care, everyone.